How you doing? It is the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. Welcome to another episode of the Mike Prince Show. Reminding you that we are right in the middle of our listening partner drive. Visit our website at obnradio.com. You can become a listening partner today. We ask that you would commit to 17 cents a day, $5 a month, $60 for the entire year to help us continue to bring you inside our coverage of the world of HBCU and beyond, and of course, my beloved Prairie View A&M University Panthers. The Twitter and Instagram handle is The Mike Prince Show. It's all running together. The Mike Prince Show. The website, of course, is obnradio.com. And YouTube is Open Mic Broadcast Network. And without any further ado, we'll jump right into today's episode. The Panthers get ready for the Running Rebels football version. This coming weekend, we'll get a chance to sit down and talk with head football coach Tony Sanchez of the Rebels. Everything works out according to plan. We'll have that ready for you on tomorrow. We'll even hear a little bit more from the Ghost on tomorrow as we'll break down and preview this week's game. We'll also have to get ready for our MEAC game of the week, as well as our SWAC game of the week. Kind of interesting choices, at least for me it is. We'll break all that down on tomorrow's show. Right now we're going to have a cross-country report by none other than Mr. Chris Clay of the Prairie View A&M University Panthers.
This is Coach Clay, head men's cross-country coach here at Prairie View. Just called and give an update about our season so far, cross-country season. So far, we start off with a good season this year. Our first meet was Texas, and it was our first meet, so we took the time to kind of just see where our fitness level was during that time. Our second meet was Rice University, and we got an opportunity to get a little pace work in. So far this year, I have a freshman standout, Worthington Moore. He's doing a great job in adjusting from a 5K to an 8K conference and a 10K, which is regionals and nationals. We have our senior, Gabriel Price. He's doing excellent as well, along with our junior, Harold. And we also have a junior, Levante, who's doing well and leading the pack as well. So this season is going to be a great season. We're slowly getting going, but definitely in motion. Our next meet will be September 29th, McNeese State. So if you can, come out and support us in Louisiana. And if not, then we'll be back in town the following week. This is Coach Clay with men's cross-country track and field. Thank you.
And we do thank you, Coach Clay, for calling in on the message line to give us the updated report and information. You too can call the message line with updates, information, questions, comments, or concerns by simply dialing 713-570-6736. We're going to take us a quick break, and we'll continue on with the Lincoln Blue Tiger Report right here on the Open Mic Broadcast Network and the Mike Prince Show.
This is Al Wash with ALW Entertainment, the promoter of the State Fair Classic, and I want y'all to keep your dial because I listen to the Open Mic Network every day. Keep the dial locked in.
How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? This is the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. As you know, we take pride in giving you HBCU coverage. Now it's time for our Lincoln Blue Tiger Report, and we have on the line with us none other than head football coach Steve Smith. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing good, Mike. How you doing today?
Man, I'm okay, holding up, and as they say, keep fighting a good fight. And speaking of fighting a good fight, you guys went to Missouri State last week. A lot of inconveniences. Had a Thursday night schedule, which was unique enough, but then you had an 11 a.m. kickoff due to some bad weather that was projected to come your way. Give us a recap on the team's overall performance and the uniqueness of that Thursday morning game.
Well, you're right. It was very unique because I've never played a college game at 11 a.m. in the morning, especially not on a Thursday. So we got the call. We got the call one day ahead of time and had to change everything. But again, I talk to my guys all the time about adversity, and that was one of those times that they had to deal with some adversity, get things situated, get them ready to go, and get on the bus at 6 a.m. Thursday morning and get down to Springfield and get going. Uh, I thought we started out the game really strong. We had a turnover, we capitalized on the turnover, then we scored a touchdown. The defense shut them down, and we scored a touchdown, and we were up 10-0. And the guys kept working hard, kept pushing themselves, and I think the second quarter is what really hurt us. We gave up 28 points in the second quarter, and that's where we had to go in and readjust, and then we came back and won the third and the fourth quarter, but it just wasn't enough to get back into what we were trying to get done, and get the win. So, but I was proud of them, and I don't really go off of moral victories, but I was definitely proud of them that they fought all the way for 4 quarters. I think if we didn't have that landslide in the second quarter, 28-0 landslide in the second quarter, I think we definitely had an opportunity to win the game and was in the game all the way through.
Absolutely. When you look at the box score of this game in particular, or if you just hear the score, I should say, a lot of people think that, oh, wow, this was a blowout. But that really was not the case, man. You guys came out with intensity, with a lot of passion and energy on this game in particular. And that landslide that you made mention of, when did you feel like the guys may have kind of thought themselves out of this particular game?
I think more so when they got the turnover, and that's the key. That's what we have to do. Even when we get a little bit of adversity, and when I mean, and I always use the ball. We get the ball rolling on the good side, or we get the ball rolling on the bad side, which gives each team momentum. So when the ball starts rolling a little bit, where the opponent gets a little bit of momentum, we kind of tighten up a little bit, or we separate instead of coming together and saying, "Hey, let's stop this ball from rolling. Let's push it back up the top and get it rolling on the other side." And that's what I talked to him about at halftime, and what I talked to him about after the game. We got to stay together and stay strong. When the good times are rolling, you know how I go. Everybody's together. Everybody's cool. Everybody's feeling it. But sometimes when you get hit with adversity and missed, either it's gonna tell you who you are. Do you separate? Do you stay strong and fight together? And that's one of the things we got to do. We have to work ourselves back to fight strong to stay together. And that's what happened to us in the second quarter. They got the ball, the momentum on. They got a turnover, and and all of a sudden now that it's like you like to just let the air out the balloon instead of keeping the air in the balloon. Plug that hole and let's go finish this and let defense stop them. And now we got to go put some points up. So that's one of the things we got to work on. I listen to everybody who talk about the game, and you're right in there. Hey, last years ago, Lincoln would have got blown out 70-0 and all of those stuff. Well, I told people it's a new Lincoln today, and I think these guys understand that. They're doing everything they're supposed to do in both phases of the game. As well as in the classroom, and they understand where they are, but they know they can compete. That's the one thing they know they can compete. They can compete with a D1 school, and they did compete with a D1 school. So it sets the tone for what you got to get done this week and the weeks to come.
Absolutely. We're talking right now with Coach Steve Smith out of Jeff City, Missouri. Now, Coach, as you stated earlier, you're not in this thing for more victories because they don't judge your extension of a contract by more victories. What they want to look at is wins and losses. With that being said, when we take on these games, we call these money games, guaranteed games. Is there a realistic expectation that we can win this game if everything lines up properly? Or is it one of those deals that's going to measure for where we are as we get ready to go into conference play? Let's bring a hefty payday back for the athletic department without anybody getting hurt. What is the realistic approach when you take a game on like this?
My real, I can't speak for everybody else, but my realistic approach is that we can win this game. We don't go in any game thinking that, oh, we just trying to get it for the money, or we just trying to get through the game and test to see where we are. No. My realistic approach is that we could win that game, and we proved that coming out, and we proved that in the finish. We just didn't get it done in the middle. So that's just how it is. Because at the end of the day, whether if I win the game, I prove to you where I am and how well we are. And same thing is saying if I lose the game and we lose it in a tight game, I'm proving to you. So why go into something that you feel like you can win just to prove to see where you are when you can do that by winning the game and you know exactly where you are, you know? So that's saying two different things, but you still want the same outcome. So for me,
Absolutely.
yeah. So for me, it's all about winning. We got to win the game.
Well, the Lincoln Blue Tigers record now goes to 1-1, already ahead of the curve, coach. But you got another opponent that's want to try to make you 1-2. Let's talk about this week's opponent you have coming up.
Wisconsin Oshkosh, very very disciplined team, very fast team, a team who's been in the national championship. 4 out of the last 5 years at their division. They've been really they compete strong. So they both come. We're both coming in at 1-1. So it's just going to be who stays the most disciplined. This team is very disciplined. They do what they're supposed to do. They're accustomed to winning. So it's up to for us this week. We got one goal this week. That's to be 2-1. However that shakes out, we just got to be 2-1. And that's what I tell the guys, and that's what we're doing. So we're just starting to start a winning streak here and put ourselves in the best possible situation going into this week to be 2-1. So when we go in division and conference play, we're going in as a winner, not going in as still the same old Lincoln. That's the biggest thing.
Yes, sir. No doubt about it. Now, coach, it's been proven that teams get better each week as they progress throughout the season. I know that you're still under construction as far as where you want to be completely as a team, but what are some of the things that you've seen improvement on, and what are some of the things that you know still needs improvement for your Lincoln Blue Tigers?
Well, you look at from game 1 to game 2, I think we had 50 something yards rushing in game 1, where we had 155 yards rushing in game 2. Now we lost some yards due to sacks, but overall just gained yards. We had 155 yards rushing. Our starting running back Hosea Franklin had 85 of those 155. You look at if you go through the game and you look at our run game, we had maybe out of 46 carries, maybe 5 negative plays. So I was very proud of what we did there. But again, even though you're proud, you still got to go correct the little things that gave you those 5 negative plays. Defensively, we made some great stops. Now, the one thing that we got to do defensively, we got to stop giving up the explosion plays because we gave up too many explosion plays defensively. So that's what hurt us in the second quarter. So, but I seen us shut people out. We shut people out in the second half. So that's another good thing that we did some good things by stopping people in the second half of the game. So again, I've seen what we can do. Our biggest thing defensively, we got to tackle. We're fast enough to get to the ball, but we're diving to get to the ball, and we got to make those plays. Our quarterback was 16 to 21, so we want him to get even better with that. We didn't drop any balls at the receiver position. So again, we went from 4, 5, 6 drops in crucial situations in game 1 to no drops this game. We went from having an okay running game to having a pretty good running game. We went from not making, missing some tackles. I get my safety was patting his feet and not going to make the tackle in game 1 to coming up and making the plays in game 2. So again, you see the progress. You see them moving up and preparing. So I just asked them to get just a little bit better every game. So now when you set a tone for each game, this game got to set the tone for the conference. So this game got to even be better than the last 2.
Absolutely. We're talking again with Coach Steve Smith. And, Coach, as I was glancing through your schedule, how did you get Tarleton in your radar?
It's just one of those things. It's just like getting Missouri State and Wisconsin Oshkosh. You go online, everybody's looking for a game. So, you know how people do. They will say, hey, we need to try to get a win. So, Wisconsin Oshkosh called us, say, hey, we need to try to get a win. And Tarleton looked at it and said, hey, well, they ain't did this. Well, yeah, we need to try to get a win. So it's a D2 school. Hey, let's take Lincoln. They won in 9 last year. So it's just one of those things. A lot of teams are going to look at the teams who haven't been successful before, and they're going to call and play those teams because they think some of them believe that it's a guaranteed win. But like I said, it's a new day and age around here, so we're not going to be anybody's sisters of the poor, and we're not going to be the bottom feeder of the conference anymore. So we're gonna go out and play every game strong and stay focused and get those W's.
Well, you can definitely hear the swag. As they say, the players have a tendency to take on the imagery of their leader. And by far, it is exciting time at Blue Tiger Nation. We're talking with Coach Steve Smith, head Blue Tiger man. Lincoln Blue Tigers are now 1-1. It's the dawn of a new Tiger, ladies and gentlemen. It is not your mother and father's Lincoln Blue Tigers as you once knew it. Coach, with all of the new swag that you brought to this Lincoln University nation, how have they been receiving it, and how hard has the transition been?
I don't say it's been hard. It's once you bring structure, you have to evaluate your team first when you come in and see what they did. The one thing that I did do is I looked at my guys in the classroom first because that's everyday structure. So they succeeded in the classroom with everyday structure. I think our GPA was a 2.4 when I got here. I just said this in our staff meeting because I just got our overall GPA yesterday, and now we're at a 2.8 since I've been here. So I think overall structure brings what the young guys call swag and confidence and different things like that. But the transition, I would say, just young men want structure. It's how you bring that structure to them. Some people bring it in tough love. Some people bring it in demanding. I'm a little bit of both. I'm a little bit of demanding and a little bit of tough love. But when we do it right, love you up. So that's the big thing. So I think that transition has its trials and tribulations. Let's say that. And then the other part of it, the support has been strong. We got a lot of support for winning the first game because that's the first thing that's been done in 20 years, for their first away game in 20 years. We got a lot of support for competing in Missouri State. But again, I told you I don't do moral victories. So our biggest thing is we gotta set the tone by putting the W's up every week, day in and day out, week in and week out. We got to put the W's up, and that's going to bring even more support. I think a lot of people are seeing what we can do. I think this past weekend showed a lot about it, but to make it more definite, and like I tell my old line, we got to define the hole for the back. So let's define the hole for who we are as a team and who we can be for this community by showing them the W's instead of just getting the moral victories. Let's get the W's always so they can't erase that. If you win the conference and you win a national championship, that's forever in the books. They can't take that away from you. So let's go get it where they can't take it away from you.
Yes, sir. You want your name forever etched in stone in that magnitude. Now, Coach, you talked about your O-line, and it's no secret that you got some healthy boys up front, man. What's the secret? You just find them big and make them bigger, or you got some type of strength and conditioning program going on?
No, I found them big, and then I put them in our strength and conditioning program. Zach Pierce does a great job in our strength and conditioning program to get them where we need to be. We had a couple of kids that came in here at 430, I think our biggest kid was like 435. And now that kid's down to like 360 now. So, we have a great, strong strength and conditioning program with Zach Pierce, who's our strength and conditioning coach, and he does a great job. Without him, I don't know where we would be because that's what's able to give us the opportunity to compete. When you play against a D1, D2, D3, no matter what it is, it's all about what type of program you have when you're off the field. What type of strength and conditioning program can you be just as strong? It's just like an FCS school going against an FBS school. That's it. Yeah, you might be a difference in scholarships, but if you got players that want to play, whether you got 63, 36, or 85, it doesn't matter. But if you got a good strength and conditioning program, you're gonna go in there and compete, and you got guys who push themselves and know what it feels like to push themselves to the max. You'll be good. So I take my hats off to Coach Zach Fierce, and he does a great job with this program here in our strength conditioning department, and he keeps these guys motivated, keep pushing. And he works them to make sure they know that they can go further than what they've ever been before.
Man, that is so refreshing to hear. And I know you're familiar with Coach Slater and the job that he's done at Tuskegee and
Right.
how he's competitive with the D1 schools. Took Alabama State in the overtime just last week.
Right.
What is it that you see when you see a Coach Slater on your same level as far as division-wise? What do you see that he does that you could implement at Lincoln? And then what is it that makes Lincoln unique from your other places that you've been at?
Well, I played against Coach Slater. He's beat me. I've beat him. And the one thing I say about it, he comes from a different type of background. He's not your typical HBCU coach. He comes from North Alabama, who's won national championships. He comes from a place that had a lot of discipline in what they're doing, and our backgrounds are the same. I came from Delta State when I first went to Albany State. So we come from that same type of conference where you're accustomed to playing in the playoffs every year, accustomed to winning the conference every year. You're playing against good competition every year. Your goal from day one is to win a national championship. So when you go in and you're able to build that culture, and there's no exception. You don't give yourself an option out. A lot of people say, well, if we just win we win the conference and we win the first playoff game, and we'll be where we need to be. No, that's you're opting out. You're setting a tone for something that's not really what you want to achieve. You want to win the conference. That's the first stage. I call it the first season and the second season. So, when Coach Slater goes into Tuskegee, they don't care if you're a PWI or if you're a HBCU. You're going to play you the same. They're going to be consistent. They're going to do what they do, and you're going to have to beat them. And that's the one thing I respect about him more than anything. He's not going to change, and that's the one thing that I say that we hear. I always tell people this. People say, well, you came from Albany State, so you really don't know too much about a PWI. I told them, you go play a Tuskegee and play a Miles, and you tell me that they're not the same as the PWI. You know what I'm saying? You go play a Tuskegee and a Miles and tell me not the same, because for my 6 years in the SIAC, those two schools right there gave me a run for my money every time, because they came from the same background that I came from. Coach Ruffin, Reginald Ruffin came from North Alabama. He played at North Alabama. So
yes, sir.
Again, they came from those type of deals. So when you go into those deals, you're taught exactly what you learned when you got into it. And so that's the same thing that I brought to Lincoln. Is like, look, we got to be disciplined in what we do. We cannot, because I've been there, and I'll say this. I always tell the story of how when I was at Delta State, we played Shaw. Okay, when we played Shaw, there was we're in the game. I'm in the office. Coach come in there and said, "What you doing?" I said, "I'm preparing for Shaw." He said, "Don't worry about Shaw. Shaw will beat himself." He said, "Get ready for North Alabama, because Shaw gonna beat themselves." And I was like, "Wow." I mean, we and it was 35 to I was like 35 to nothing in the first half of the game. And Shaw did. They beat themselves by making the mistakes. It wasn't discipline. And that's the same thing I took. And I always remember that. And I tell that story to my guys for them to understand. They don't believe that you can beat them because they don't think that you're going to be disciplined. So we gotta show them something different. 2010, we went undefeated at Albany State, and we went to the playoffs, and we played Wingate. Wingate didn't believe that we can beat them, and we beat them because we stayed disciplined and did what we were supposed to do. So again, I've been on both sides of the ball. I understand on both sides of that coin, let me say. So I understand exactly what we're looking for, and I understand exactly what we need to do here at Lincoln to be successful. We have to be disciplined in what we do. We have to be knowledgeable about our opponent, and we have to be technically sound in what we're getting done. And I promise you, if we do that, we'll come out with the victories that we're looking for.
Now, Coach, let me ask you this question. When you're looking, and I believe I know it, because you can look at a ball player and have a conversation with a ball player, and within the first 1 minute of that conversation, you can tell if that ball player has the it factor. When you see a team for the first time, can you immediately pick up on if this team is disciplined or not?
Oh, yeah, you can look at how they play. The biggest thing is a lot of teams that you're going to play at this level in this conference, you're going to have a bunch of what I call J.J. Watts. They're those guys who are high motor guys. I mean, high motor guys. And you know what? They don't care. They just going and going and going and going and going. Whatever they ask them to do, they're going to do it relentlessly and do their job to the full capacity of their ability. I can't say, hey, I didn't beat you 30 plays. Now I'm going to take this one off. Because as soon as I take that one off, he's still going 110%. And that's what you got to get your guys to understand. So yes, you got guys who are going to be strong, who are going to be disciplined. But the key point is they got high motors in their discipline. And we got to teach our guys, hey, you got to be the same. You got to be relentless the same way. You got to beat that young man down and make him want to quit. And when he don't want to quit, you got to let him know that I ain't quitting either. I'm going to still keep coming. And I think that's what we're building here, and that's what we're getting. And the key part is that you got to get the young man that you're coaching to think that way, to be that way. And then you recruit some kids that that we got a kid here, Ben Shoemate. He's that way. He's relentless. He's relentless. He's going to keep coming and keep coming. He don't care. If that's what you ask me, you're going to have to break him all the way down for him to not do what he needs to do. Well, that's what you're looking for.
When you think about it too, Coach, a lot of these guys that are on your D2 and your D3 levels, a lot of them come to these programs with a chip on their shoulder because they might feel like they've been a slightly overlooked and they want to prove to folks that they made a mistake on them. So there's already some instant motivation right there.
You're right. Ain't no slightly. They feel like they've been overlooked. I promise you that. It's not no slightly. You know, I asked the question last week when we were going into the Missouri State game, how many of you guys think you should have went D1? And 99.5% of the guys said I should have went D1. So at the end of the day, it wasn't no slightly. They knew. So again, if that's what you feel that you should be, then you should play like that way every time you step on the field. And that's what I do. I don't care if a kid become all conference to me, then you better play like all conference every time you step on the field, whether it's practice or it's a game. If you become all American, play like you're all American every time. And I'm gonna stand on your neck until you give me that every time you step on the field. So you telling me you should be a D1 player or you're an NFL prospect, then I'm gonna stand on your neck for you to play like that every time you step on the field. And you know, some kids have never had that before. And at the end of the day, I would not be doing my job if I did not push these young men as hard as I can in the classroom and on the field for them to be the best that they can be. Because some of them don't know how truly good they really can be.
Coach, my eligibility has passed me a long time ago. But I swear,
yours and mine too.
I swear, man, you make me feel like I got at least one more play in me.
We all feel that way till we get on that field.
I know it. That's why I'm going to stay right behind this mic, and I'm going to let you hold the clipboards. Coach Steve Smith of the Tigers with Attitude, Blue Tigers with Attitude, is definitely a true meaning to the eye of the Tiger. They'll take on Wisconsin Oshkosh this weekend. And, Coach, we're wishing you nothing but success for this upcoming event, even in the entire season. And as we become accustomed, Coach, I'm going to give you some final thoughts and comments before we shut this segment down.
We just going to push. You know, I thank everybody who's supporting us. And like I said, you know, our thing is we coming. You know, so I appreciate everything you've done for the first two games that we put ourselves into, and we came out 1-1. And we hope to put everything together this weekend and do what we're supposed to do and come out 2-1 and go into conference play with a strong support system from the community and our Blue Tiger alumni and family. And make sure we make you guys proud every time we step in between those white lines on Saturday.
All right, Coach Steve Smith and the Blue Tigers trying to get it done. I am the radio guy to Dr. Mike Prince. Remember to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at The Mike Prince Show. The website is obnradio.com. And until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.